Hola, welcome back to Soul Mechanics. Step into my office, have a seat, all that jargon. We're feeling a little bit better today. Sorry about the last video. I was seriously having a panic attack during it, and I wasn't feeling well. I was super depressed, and everything was just kind of shitty at the time. But I needed to get it done, and as I've stated before, or as I had stated before, a few times actually, my YouTube mentor, she's actually like a professional YouTube mentor, and she's kind of, she's just giving me the rundown on pretty much how to feel about it, how to go about it. She's obviously not helping me gain a wider audience or anything, because I actually lost a subscriber. I don't know why that would happen. Did I make a video that, I don't understand why a subscriber would leave, but we still have 50, so I'm celebrating that. That's pretty awesome. I'm happy about that, and I'm hoping to get more, so fucking like the video, fucking subscribe. If you're not subscribed, hit that fucking subscribe button, hit the like button, share the video, though. Share the fucking video. If you think it has something good in it that other people can make use of, fucking show it to them, please. Help me out here. Anyways, we've done some factory resets recently, chemical-induced factory resets, and we are in the process of that still, and it's going to be a side project for the Remnants program too, so I'll give updates on that. I'll give a full report on what goes down there. You could say it's another experiment, so to speak. Well, it is. It's an experiment because I've never done this before, and it's kind of become a new trend amongst the community of psychonauts and whatnot, this particular practice. I don't want to speak of it in depth here, but also I've gotten some reports in from operatives. Some of our foundation operatives have contacted me saying that something about, because I was promoting Tony Robbins recently and speaking of his work, and apparently he's under indictment or under investigation at least for some kind of criminal misconduct or sexual misconduct or sexual harassment or something to that effect. And they said, well, you should probably back off of him for a little while, at least until this blows over, if not indefinitely. Not really promote Tony Robbins or link any of his stuff or even talk about him really. And I'm thinking, go fuck yourself. How dare you? I'm thinking this is a perfect opportunity to make an example of what I'm talking about where it comes to value and aspects and how that operates. And the man is a fucking legend, so it's maybe he fucked up. Unless he did something totally atrocious, it's not really going to change my opinion of his work so much, and that's kind of the point of the matter really, is that this dude, he's done a lot of good for people in general, but particularly for the initiative and for our endeavor, and he's shared a great message. His works deliver this extraordinary message of empowerment and just fucking awesomeness. He's a very powerful blue. He's very influential. He's done a lot of good. His message is very powerful. Now that message that he sent, let's try, what I want to set as an example here, what I want to try and say is, don't make the mistake of confusing a message with its messenger. This is what people did with Jesus, for example. They people worship Jesus dead, nailed on a cross. Firstly, they have a commandment that says, thou shalt not worship graven images. I've said this so many times before, but I have to keep saying it because it's it doesn't get through. Thou shalt not worship graven images. Thou shalt place no God before me, the God. Yet, they worship the graven image of a man before God, a dead man, and they just discard his message entirely. The perfect example of having confused the message with the messenger. Now the message, with Tony Robbins, for example, Tony Robbins has delivered this incredible message of empowerment and tenacity, really, and done heavy damage for the initiative on our part against cognitive dissonance in general, and just done a hell of a lot of damage in this struggle. He's very powerful, Tenno. And Dude, for real, it's like one after another, after another, after another. Dude, how many commercials do I need on a fucking playlist? It's programmed. Come on. Anyways, he's delivered this extraordinary message. Now, if he did something atrocious, and if he's convicted of whatever he's under investigation for, I have no idea what it is. I just heard about this morning. But the message that he's delivered, his works, that's the value. Okay, that's the value that's in play. Now, what happens to him if his reputation is tarnished because of this? That's an aspect that's going to be attached to that value. And so when you look at that value, your perception's going to hit that aspect and filter through it. And so a lot of people who aren't really advanced in themselves, people who are, amateur hour for the most part, they're going to look at that and they're going to be like, well, his message can't be true, it's not valid information, or there's something wrong with it. Not only are they going to discard the message because of that aspect that's attached to it, because he did something wrong, he fucked up, he made a mistake, and maybe he did something horrible, I don't know. Whatever it is, though, that's his personal life, and it has nothing to do with the message that he sent. But people are going to look at it, they're going to look at that message, and they're going to throw it away. They're going to discard it. They're going to be like, well, his message is worthless because he, in my opinion, from my perspective, he seems to be a bad person. So now, all of a sudden, he seems to be a bad person, so his message is invalid. And they're going to throw away the value there. Like, that message is very powerful, it's very empowering, it's very high stakes. Like, that's very, very high priority value. That's very valuable message he sent. His works are extraordinarily valuable and helpful, beneficial to everyone. And people are just not even going to look at it. Future generations. We still have a third wave coming through that hasn't really woken up yet. A third wave of the initiative, the younger kids, the next generation. My generation, we're the second wave. And then the previous directors, Drew Velo, the people that I've put links in here, like Terrence McKenna for the Blues, Graham Hancock's going to be one of them, Rupert Sheldrake for the Greens, whomever I decide to link here. I'm having trouble deciding who to link here, but I've got somebody working on it right now, finding me someone. But these heavyweights from before, they're the first wave of the initiative. We're the second wave right now, and then there's still the kids coming through the third wave. And Tony Robbins' message is empowering for them. That's a tool they can use to really kick some ass, to really do some serious damage and come into their own. And they're not even going to get it because of this. And this is not only is this an example of an aspect tarnishing a value, but corrupting a value in the sense that it's going to not only make people discard the value of the message, but it's going to make people think that it's wrong and probably work against it because of whatever's going on with him personally. And honestly, it could very well be a ploy. It could be a plot. Like, this could be a trick that society, for the most part, whomever's running the show, we have a lot of ideas as to who. It's generally cultists. It's really just, you can lump it together as cultists and say that there are cultist influences running the show behind the scenes. I'm not going to say, like, the Illuminati. That's wrong right off the bat. That's the Illuminati is actually part of the initiative. They were the origins of the real Illuminati. Whomever's using the Illuminati name and doing, this ridiculous shit with the media, that's somebody else. That's not them. That's renegade operatives. But the original Illuminati is actually a branch of the initiative, like the origins of the initiative. And then, there's all kinds of, like, political persons and political parties, the government, which the government is just people doing their job. Like, they're not, the government's not running some kind of they're scamming you, yeah, they've always been scamming you, but they're not, like, evil. There is no evil influence in play. There are cultists who might think that they're, like, worshiping Lucifer or something like that, or they just don't know what they're talking about. They're lost people who don't know what the fuck they're doing. Maybe they think they're evil, maybe they think they're good. I doubt they think they're evil. It's pointless. The point is that it could be a ploy, like deliberately tarnishing this man's reputation for the sake of damaging his message. Don't let that happen. The message is valid, the value The values what matters. The aspects, you need to see through those. Discard them. Anyways, this video is speaking to reds. I'm going to try and do this quickly. I've got 20 minutes remaining. So, reds are going to be particularly empathic. When we seek reds, what we see with the answers that they give for the questions with the tied into the initiative page, they're going to be asking questions to the effect of who or what or even when. Like, they're asking contextual questions, some variation of a contextual question, while greens are going to be asking how, insofar as concerns the function and the practicality of a thing, and blues are going to be asking for the reasoning, the why of it. Reds are going to be interested in when it happened, where it happened, who was involved. They're interested in sociality, I suppose you could say, in a manner of speaking. But everybody, all three of these colors, when they come into their own, they're going to be seeking partnership. But reds, they're going to be, okay, the problem area that reds, the concern area that reds are going to go through, and I don't want to be mean about this, like I don't want to say shitty things, and believe me, it's going to get shittier after this. With the fourth color type, I'm gonna be taking a risk on that one, but I have to do it. But reds are going to be, especially female reds, they're going to be, I don't want to have to use the word like slutty, they're promiscuous. They're going to be jumping from relationship to relationship. They're going to be very impulsive, and essentially where their innate ability and their innate talent, their core of them is empathic and caring and loving, kindness in general and empathy. They're going to be very careless with the way that they handle things earlier in their development, and they're going to be the girls who, have another boyfriend before they've dropped the last one. He doesn't even know what's going on, and they just ditch him. That sort of thing's going to happen, and they're going to go from fling to fling to fling until they land somewhere, until they develop a true sense of loyalty and justness and righteousness in their love. And they find that they're going to be seeking that one true love most of the time, but they're going to be looking for it everywhere. And I don't want to say that they're being promiscuous and in a sexual sense and in a romantic sense, and they don't have a trust issue. They have like the opposite of a trust issue. Like, they're going to be overtly trusting and loving and open, but at the same time, they're going to feel hampered by this empathy. They're going to have a sense of empathy, and they're going to feel other people's emotions. They don't realize that they can turn that around. Again, it's always going to be turning that around. And there are more abilities than the ones that I've mentioned. As I said, I've missed things for the blue and the green video. I'm going to miss things here. But the most prominent ability that we can see that's innate, the ability that's just habitual, it's happening no matter what, is that sense of empathy. And a trick that reds can use when they're dealing with people is going back to the mirroring, like I spoke to with blues, and this is going to come into play with the next color type too, but in very big ways for the next color type. But for reds, firstly, they can mirror people's breathing is going to be a common tactic and the most prominent the most powerful tactic they have. If you match up your breathing with somebody else, like the rhythm and the tempo, so to speak, if you match up the beat of your breathing and the, just breathe in sync with them, that balances out, evens out your frequencies, and it tunes you into each other. And so you're going to feel their emotions. Anybody can do this, but reds are going to have it innately, as I said, inherently. And it's going to be very strong for them that they're going to pick up on other people's emotions. Now, if they can control their own emotions, they can turn that around, and using this mirroring breathing technique, they can sync up with people, and there are various other ways they can sync up with people. This is just one of the better examples, but they can sync up with a person and, kind of lock onto that person's, their signature. And then if they can control their own emotions, they can reverse it and control that person's emotions. And there are ways that they can put cues into play, like facial expressions, body language, shit like that. They can put cues into play that will, I want to say, kind of trigger, but, you know, signal the other person subconsciously to react and to alter their emotional state. Now, at higher levels, at greater power, especially with the Kundalini impulse active, they can sort of supercharge their emotions. The emotional energy, emotions, and chemical energy, that's going to be the drive. That's the battery of your power. Like any caster would know that you put emotion into something, that you like spellcrafting, spellcasting, you imbue your activities with emotion, because that emotion, that's the energy, that's the power, that's the force that's provided, and everything else is just a means to an end. Like the material aspect, the psychic aspect, these are just routes, avenues for you to direct an emotion, and the emotion is the charge that causes it. And so Reds, when they can supercharge their emotions and they can control their emotions, one of the best techniques for controlling their emotions is going to be being grateful, thankfulness, you know, thinking about things that they're grateful for, thinking about things they're happy about, and, you know, creating that emotion of gratitude. That's going to be the best fucking thing you can do, and it's going to change your emotions in a positive manner, and it's going to resonate with everybody else. And Reds are going to be particularly powerful in causing that resonance effect with the Kundalini impulse, so we need to watch out for that, because Reds, everybody but Reds particularly, are going to be, because they sync up with the emotions, they're going to be experiencing that resonance effect. They're going to have their Kundalini impulse is going to spontaneously activate on them, and then they're going to resonate with other people. This is going to happen like a fucking domino effect. It's already started. We've got a lot of, like, I've spoken to a lot of people who are experiencing frenzy, experiencing rage, fury, fucking manic, bipolar, panic and anxiety disorders. That's why this is happening. Those are all symptoms of this energy being blocked up, and you know, you're experiencing a backlash from it. And so that's something that Reds are going to want to do. They're going to have fear is going to be another problem. They're going to be afraid of, say, losing people. They're going to be afraid of disconnection. They're going to be afraid of being hurt where it comes to romantic love, separation anxiety, that sort of thing. And I'm going to give you guys in the next video, I'll give you a bunch of links to some of the newer people who are popping up on the scene, some of our second wave of the initiative. For the links to the leads that I'm giving you for these videos, I'm giving you first wave, like heavyweights from the first wave, and then the next video I'll give you, because the next video is particularly for the third wave, so I'm going to give you a lot of second and third wave people's links in that. But they're going to have fear of loss, they're going to have fear of being hurt, and they're going to be hurt because they're going to experience other people's emotions. And it's just, if they have that carelessness in play where they're just jumping from person to person to person, essentially they're going to be damaging people, they're going to be hurting people, and they're going to experience the feedback from that. And they're not going to have control of their own emotions, so they're just going to feel kind of victimized by it. And this is where that victimization complex is going to initially have come from, but it doesn't really, it hadn't erupted with the previous stages, the first and second wave. It's erupting in the third wave more so. But yeah, that's really, they're fairly simple in that sense. That's about all there is really to say about them now. I mean, there's more advanced shit that I can get into later, but that's pretty much the gist of it, is these techniques such as, you know, enjoying gratitude, enlightening their own gratitude, a sense of gratitude, and syncing up with people in various ways, delivering cues. That's how you can turn it around. And once the Reds become aware of the power they have and what they're capable of doing with it, that changes the whole game. That'll turn the whole fucking thing around. They will no longer feel like they're being burdened or victimized. They'll be able to help people and do good. And of course, this can make them exceptionally dangerous too if they decide to go the other route. However, not many do, because again, it's going to be difficult to reach the more advanced stages in this practice, in this field, in this general training, overall training. It's going to be extremely difficult, if not impossible, to reach the higher stages from a negative end. There is no actual evil players in play. You just can't do it. It doesn't work. And I mean, obvious reasons being that, for example, empaths who are going to try and make other people feel bad, the only way they can do that is by feeling bad themselves. Who the fuck wants to do that? It's going to be a rarity. And you'll see this sort of thing really primarily with sociopaths or psychopaths. We'll get into that in the next video. But overcoming that fear, developing that sense of aloneness, and being able to hold their own and be confident in and of themselves, and then resound their own emotions. That's going to be how they turn it around, and that's going to be, generally speaking, they're very powerful, and they're very powerful in their simplicity, because like I said, that's really all there is. It's that simple. It's that easy with Reds, except they, you know, at the same time, that paradox effect comes into play where their caring and kindness is their innate ability, yet their problem is carelessness. Their general drive and their power is so simple to harness and so simple to make use of, so simple in and of itself ultimately, yet they're going to feel like the most burdened. They're going to feel like it's the most complicated because they're dealing with the emotional values, and that's really touching at the core of what we are. So yeah, that's really that's about it. I mean, just put positive values into play, train yourself to feel positive, sync up with people, learn to turn that around. And the moment you do, the moment you realize you can do that, Reds out there, that's going to change everything. You are not. Everybody's experiencing everything backwards. Guys, we've been doing this forever and ever and ever. We've been gradually digging deeper into that backward mentality. And that's how society's been training us. We need to turn that around. That's what we're fighting. This social programming, essentially, that's not even really guided by anyone. It's out of control. It's out running amok. That's like an artificial intelligence that's running amok. That's really where the idea is going to come from. And we've spoken to this with scientism and such. You know, it's the same thing. It's like we feel as though we're concrete, hardwired, set in this certain way, and this certain way is going downhill, and we feel like that's it. But we're moving backward. Like we're literally. It's not that we're falling backwards. It's that we're driving backwards. We can turn it around, and that's all we need to do is turn this shit around. So, thank you for watching. Oh, also, by the deal with the Reds and Blues are going to be conflicting because logic and emotion, it's the masculine and feminine energies. Greens and Reds are going to have a better relationship. Greens generally are going to have excellent relationship skills with other people if they learn to make use of it. But again, they're lacking in their own confidence, they're lacking in their own responsibility, and they're lacking in their own trust. That's what holds them back. But once they get over that, they're going to have excellent relationship skills, while Blues and Reds are both going to have. Reds are going to be overtly, overtly emotional and open with relationships. Blues are going to be isolated, and that's the two ends of the spectrum, while Greens balance it out, Green being the matter, psyche, emotion. So, yeah, that's the mapping of it. Anyways, thank you for watching. Keelah, Taerve, siari, Namasté.